Hey guys, it's Adrian. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to bring you a pre-vacation book haul. I have to say, if you love book hauls, this is the place to be for the next coming weeks because I've got quite a few book hauls planned for you. These that I'm going to show you today are all the books that I've collected since the middle of May up until now. Now I have to say, there's a lot of books here, but some of them were gifts and some of them are library books. So it's not so bad. I'm trying to make myself feel better, can you tell? It's not so bad. But I'm leaving for the States very soon and I plan on doing some book shopping there because I always go book shopping there because my mom and I love to spend hours and hours and hours in the bookstores. So I will definitely be buying some books there. So I will be doing a book haul for my vacation haul. A friend of mine is also in England and she loves to go thrift store shopping about as much as I do, especially for books. And I sent her away with some money and she's already got me quite a stack of books and her vacation is not even close to being over yet. So I will be doing a book haul for those books. And then in September, it's my birthday month. So if there's one month in the year that I don't feel guilty about buying books, it'll be then, even though I won't really need any books because my book collection will probably significantly increase already with all the books that are being bought. So all that to say, there will be quite the number of book hauls coming to you in the next month or so. The first two books that I want to show you are library books, so I figured I'd show you those now and get those out of the way so I can bring them back. And the first one is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I talked about this a little bit in my July wrap-up already. I'm enjoying this book quite a lot. It's a trashy romance book that I usually don't like, but this book is so laughable. It follows a girl named Tate and a guy named Miles, and they basically get into a relationship that you can't really call it a relationship. Basically, they're friends with benefits, and it's like a tragedy waiting to happen, and it's kind of hysterical. The characters are really sarcastic and funny. I think Kat in this book is my new favorite character. And it's just so dramatic sometimes that it makes me laugh. Because I'm not a big romance person, I can really laugh at this book and enjoy it for just what it is. It's a guilty pleasure, trashy romance book. Next up from the library is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This I also talked about in my July wrap-up. I ended up giving this a 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It's a polarizing book, either you love it or you don't. I loved it. I'm not going to tell you what it's about because it'll ruin it for you. You need to go into this one completely blind. Moving on to the books that I personally bought, we have The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This book has been everywhere on BookTube lately and I am so interested in reading this book. It follows a girl named Star, and Star is a black girl who goes to a posh white school, but she lives in a poor black neighborhood, and so she's dealing with the difference between these two places, and her best friend is shot by a white cop, and it talks about how she's dealing with that in the context of her two communities. And this book is a Black Lives Matter book, and I think it's such an important topic to be reading about, and it's only gotten rave reviews, so I'm very excited to read this. I also got This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab in preparation for Our Dark Duet. Our Dark Duet was on my most anticipated summer releases list, but I haven't read This Savage Song yet, and it sounds like a cute book that I would really enjoy. So I decided to pick this one up so I can read Our Dark Duet and kind of get the duology done in one shot, because I like, when they're duologies, I like to just read them one right after the other. I'm not entirely sure what this book is about. I generally like to go into my books as blind as I can, so I don't know too many things. I do know that this is kind of a dystopian book where it follows a girl and she is supposed to be enemies with the monsters, but she meets this monster and I have to decide if they want to be friends or enemies. I'm sure I'm describing this terribly. Once I read it, I'll let you know what it's about, but for now, that's all I know. And then I picked up Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. Jodi Picoult is one of my auto-buy authors. She's been one of my go-to authors since I was a teenager. And, you know, her books are kind of predictable to a sense. Once you've read one, you kind of get the gist of where her stories are going. But it doesn't really matter, because if you love her no matter what her stories are about. And this one, I believe, follows a white couple who has had a baby, and they are assigned a black nurse, but they don't want to have a black nurse. And I think what happens is when the couple is away, the black nurse comes and takes care of the baby, and the baby dies. And so it's all about them putting the blame on this black nurse. I think, again, this is an important book to read, kind of like The Hate You Give, because this is actually really happening and it's awful. It's awful that we live in a world that's so diverse and people are so prejudiced to one another. So I'm very excited to read this one. What I love about Judy Picoult is that she's always writing about relevant issues that really make you think about society and how society works. And the last book that I purchased myself was List of Cages by Robin Rowe. This book, again, I also read in the month of July and is in my July wrap-up. I was not a huge fan. I've got a spoiler-free review scheduled to come up in about a week or so. So if you want to know more of my opinions, you can check that out there. But this follows a boy named Adam and a boy named Julian. And Julian is a foster child. And he lived with Adam at one point, and they've been separated for a while, and they meet again at school, and it's about their relationship and how things have progressed in the few years that they were apart. I was not a huge fan of this book. I gave it a 2.5 stars. I will say that there are trigger warnings for this book for child abuse, and I've mentioned this a couple times already, but I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of the extent of abuse that would be in the book, but because I'm so sensitive, I'm really looking for a clear and cut point that I don't think came out in this book very well. But like I said, more on that in my book review. You can check that out when it comes out if you're interested in why I didn't like this book. And the last two books that I have were gifts that were sent to me. The first one was Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This book was part of the book swap-a-thon that happened in the month of June, and my book buddy was Krista from Books and Jams, and so we swapped books, and this was the book that Krista sent to me. This one made it onto my top 10 books of the year so far. It follows a guy named Jason Destin, and Jason Destin is kidnapped from his family, and he wakes up in a place that he's not familiar with, and people know things about him that has never happened to him before, and his family isn't his family anymore, and so he's trying to find out what on earth happened. I loved it. It was thrilling. It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. It was a phenomenal book. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. And lastly was a book that I got way back in May for Mother's Day for my husband and my kids, and that was Wires and Nerve by Marissa Meyer. I am dying to read this book, and I won't read it until I've read Winter, which is on my TBR for this month. This book follows Eiko, or however you say her name, who is the android in the series. And she is the most sarcastic, lovable character. She's my favorite character in the Lunar Chronicles series. So I've been dying to read this one, and it's a graphic novel. And I've never actually read a graphic novel before. I'm hoping that I can, because the letters are kind of eeny teeny tiny. But we'll see. I'm very excited to read a book about Eiko, and I'm very excited to read a graphic novel. As soon as I finish Winter, this will be up. Alright, so that wraps it up for my pre-vacation book haul. I'm very excited about the books that I've got so far, and I'm very excited about the books that will be coming soon, so keep your eyes out for more book hauls. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't yet, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye!